From Puebla, it's Austin, Texas. This is Stacker.News Live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to an exciting episode of Stacker.News Live. My name is Carl. We have Keyan. Yeah. How you doing, Keyan?
I'm good. Yeah, pretty good. How about you?
I'm feeling really good today. Feeling really good.
Why?
I don't know why. I just been in a chipper mood all day. I don't know why. I woke up that way, and I was like, you know what?
You're gonna stick.
I'm gonna keep rolling with it. I've been annoying everybody all day ever since. Even everybody. It's been awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who doesn't like that? Except
When
you.
somebody's happy and just acting goofy all day. How was your week?
It was good. It was a good week, I think. Yeah, not a whole lot. Other than 4th of July. 4th of July celebration.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I went in a
good time, right?
I went in a bouncy castle with Alex Lewin.
Doxed.
I fell over in it and like tipped over the whole bouncy castle. That was fun.
So your last weekend was the best part, was the highlight.
That was, I mean, that's, you know, if someone only knows me on this podcast, that was part of this last week. And then after that, I don't know.
It was work. You had work weeks. You had a whole work ahead.
What
did you do this week?
I did work. I like to, I just say I'm still working on wallets. There are like a bunch of facets of wallets, but I just call it all wallets, and it sounds like I've never stopped working on the same thing. So I just
oh wow, do you think like it's just like an excuse you're using now, that you're just kind of lying to yourself? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I always describe it in the lamest terms, where people are underwhelmed by me saying it. I just like to see people's face when I tell them week after week I'm working on wallets.
I definitely ask you every day, like, what are you working on? And you're like, wallets. I'm like, okay. Sounds like punishment or something that you're doing to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I could be like, oh, it's this part of wallets now, it's this part of wallets now, and it's this part of wallet, but I just say wallets instead, just because
Yeah, there's somebody else inside Club Lab who works on wallet stuff for a different company, and whenever he talks about wallets, it sounds really fascinating. So,
yeah,
he's
really impressed with himself. I mean, not really, but like he does think there's, I don't know. It's just, to me, wallets are boring. They're supposed to be boring. They're supposed to just work. And so that's why I don't find them actually that fun. It's just doing things that you would expect and doing it well with wallets is really hard. And it's just not fun to be like, oh, it does what you think it should do now.
So you're taking the banking approach to building wallets.
It's
kind of like how a bank would be like, yeah, we're installing drive-through deposits. Yeah, it's a thing. That's what you're kind of saying. It's kind of like that.
I think so. It's just, yeah.
It feels very like you're in the cashier role at the bank, where you're just like, yeah, we're getting new deals today, and there's money coming in. Yeah,
I think your mood might be affecting your metaphors, but
I'm trying to understand. I think relate it to the normal people.
I think you understand. I think they understand, and you understand perfectly fine. It's just, you know, wallets are boring. We all know how they should work.
Boring. You heard it here first. Wallets are boring, people. If you've never seen this crazy show before, it's called Stacker.News Live. We have a lot of comments. I just haven't had time before the show to put them all so we can talk about it. But it's not for me avoiding comments, that's for sure. You should definitely go in there and start commenting and fight with the people in the comments. That's a good thing. Or complain about us. That's another good thing. Or complain about the people that we're talking about. That's another what's been going on. So we'll cover comments next week. Also, sorry to Undisciplined and who else? Blockchain Boog for not doing the fountain comments recently. We'll do those too. I just haven't had time to do it before the show. Something always comes up.
Like vibe coder.
Anyways, let's jump into the show. This week we are going to talk about a lot of things, but because there's a lot of privacy stuff going on, a lot of AI stuff happened, and the Bitcoin stuff keeps going. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the number 3 top story this week It's that time Gregory Maxwell sent 21 million coins to himself. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so it looks like Raw Avocado has gotten pretty good at kind of clickbait. I think it's an art form, and they do a pretty good job with it. In this case, they cover the time that G Maxwell posted a transaction, I think, to an early block explorer that showed him giving himself 21 million Bitcoin. Yeah, and he just kind of goes into like how it works and why, and it's what's nice is it's a great vehicle for explaining the way Bitcoin works. That's the way he uses it. Like most, I would guess 90% of this video is spent explaining Bitcoin stuff, and then he kind of explains what G Maxwell actually did, which was sort of an exploit on the block explorer where you could submit a raw transaction to it, and it did not validate it in the way that a node does. So in the block explorer, it shows Greg Maxwell spending 21 million Bitcoin, and he just finds like the archive site of that where it shows that obviously it was not accepted by the Bitcoin network, but it suggests that the block explorer itself just wasn't implemented very well. But overall, a little fun piece of history, and also more importantly, I think like a vehicle for understanding Bitcoin for people who aren't super familiar with it.
Cool. Let's jump into the comments. The number 2 comment was from OT. Said, "I guess it was worth a try!" Exclamation point. Good reminder to always wait for a number of confirmations when transacting on chain. What did he mean by that?
I think it was
just trying to give himself 21 million. Is that what he meant by that?
What do you mean? What did he mean by that?
OT.
I think it was like kind of a jokey comment, kind of I guess it was worth a try, haha. And I don't think he actually tried to spend 21 million Bitcoin to himself. And then he talks about something that we should do, which is wait for a minimum number of confirmations. 6 is like the common example, but for large amounts, if you're worried about reorgs, maybe even more, especially around BIP 110 stuff, maybe a lot more, maybe 2 weeks worth of blocks.
Yeah, it looks like the other one was history repeat themselves. And then they said, "Oh, when did this happen?" And then they, D68 said, chose the 21 million Bitcoin cap by selling an initial block reward of 50. Having early code, some analysis suggests early source code had a limit of 1.99 billion Bitcoin, but that was changed to 21 million before the January 2009 launch. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a fun fact.
I think it's all just slop. A human being would have to actually confirm that, unless we.
Somebody confirm this. I wonder. Yeah, 1.99 billion is an interesting number. Cool. Well, check it out, Stackers. We're going to jump into the number 2 top story this week. Let's do it. Bull Bitcoin is officially opening the first legal front against DAC 8 in Europe. This is from Bull Bitcoin. 10 comments, 14,000 sats. Keyan, what's going on this week?
Yeah, I guess in 2023 there was some kind of European Union law passed, which goes under the initialism DAC 8, that requires all Bitcoin exchanges to share all of the information about their customers, their transactions, their identities with other European Union states. I think there are, how many? There's like in excess of 20 of them. I know 58 jurisdictions is what it says in this infographic. And that goes into effect for this year, for the calendar year of 2026. I think and then it gets reported, I think on the 1st of the 2027. And it seems like Bull Bitcoin is attempting to petition to have that changed or stopped before it actually occurs.
It looks like it's going up as far as physical tax.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
There was a lot of reporting on X about physical attacks in France, or an uptick in physical attacks in France. I think because they possibly had a local law that started, using this much sooner. I'm not super familiar with like the laws in the European Union, but it's, this is bad. This is kind of worst case scenario. You have a government mandate to basically collect data, and then even worse, share it, which means there's all kinds of surface area and leaks that are likely to happen. You can basically assume that all of your data, all of your like transaction data, the knowledge that you are a Bitcoin or shitcoin holder will be on the internet somewhere at some point. It's highly unlikely that this data does not leak.
Well, it's the same thing like with drugs, right? Like if whenever people get pinched, it's because the information flows throughout the streets, and then they come and rob them, or authorities take them down. It's the same type of thing, just on a global scale. It looks like that's crazy.
Yeah, this is like The Wire, but for the globe. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess they're attempting to they're trying to engage in the like government process here, bull Bitcoin, and stop this from happening. I'm not sure how effective it'll be. It seems like the most you can do is kind of petition. Maybe you can. I don't know how laws work in that.
I think awareness is definitely one is definitely the first step, because I didn't even know about. I mean, we kept seeing the news with the frat stuff, but I didn't know there was like this bad. So that's definitely on my radar now. I think us talking about it helps. I'm sure there's other podcasts talking about it. So I think just getting it out there, yeah, it's definitely the first step. Yeah. It looks like they're up against something pretty big, though, right? It looks like there's.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I meant to say. Is I'm not sure what will stop this from happening.
Yeah, it looks like it's enforced since January 1st, so they would have to. Yeah, they would have to roll that back, I guess.
They would. Yeah, the law would have to be overturned.
Well, it's there. Yeah, let's see if there's any top comments from the stackers. Top comment this week for this particular post was from Peter Todd. He said France's tax authority has leaked information on Bitcoin ownership that has led to home invasions, assaults, and even people being tortured. Collecting this information was absurdly reckless, and French bureaucrats should be in prison for this. Yeah. And then he shared a Binance post. Did you read through this at all? Or it's just more of the same?
That's what I was saying about
the
attacks that happened on X, is they had leaks that led to people, like a huge uptick in them.
All right. It looks like that's the number 2 top story this week. Let's jump into the number 1 story. It's how Bitcoin's privacy was upgraded. This is from Crew. 4 comments, 25,000 sats. Keyan, what's going on this week with this?
Yeah. Crew runs the largest Wasabi coordinator. Maybe, I think really the only active one that I'm aware of right now. And they wrote up about how Bitcoin, from the early days, Bitcoin was thought to achieve greater privacy than it does with like normal usage, and it involves coin joins, and kind of breaks down the history of like each epoch of coin joins and the privacy protocols that have been built and where we stand today. And he goes through like Zero Link and Wabi Sabi and shows us transactions on the blockchain of each and the like advantages and disadvantages of each. And ending with Wabi Sabi, Wasabi Wallet 2.0's Wabi Sabi protocol, which is here, which allows inputs to have variable size. They still have to. There's like a limited number of input sizes that you can have, but there's quite a wide variety of them, and it still achieves great privacy and just more flexible is the idea in general. And then I think he also states that the latest release of Wasabi has some mitigations for the remaining privacy criticisms that they've received on the protocol.
Cool. Then he gives some examples of different coin joins by that protocol. Oh wow, that's pretty. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, how many inputs are there?
It looks like there's 112. Wait, 100 and
okay, yeah, 346
346 inputs. So is this all from one transaction?
That's
It
all
is,
one,
right?
That's all one
wow.
transaction.
And how many outputs does it? Same amount? Oh no, 429. Where did those extra transactions come from? Did you explain that?
You can have one input go fan out to n
that's
outputs.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
You can have n inputs fan out or fan in to one output.
Wow, look, it was only 84. It was only well, no, that was the fee. How much was the Bitcoin? That was
Well, it was 1 sat per V byte. It looks like was the
59 Bitcoin. Wow. Wow, that's a big transaction. Cool. Was there anything else you wanted to add to this? That's really interesting. I feel like this is I don't know why somebody hasn't made like a mempool podcast. I feel like that's definitely somebody should do that.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Because this is like the really fascinating stuff about the mempool. When you see stuff like this, there should definitely be like a mempool podcast where they're just going to go in depth.
Well, there's some pretty good people on X that do a good, like Mononaut does a pretty great job of covering like anomalies in the mempool on X and writing about them. I think a podcast is like, I don't know, 2x the effort.
Yeah, for sure.
At least. So,
yeah.
But it would be.
You could just have it like once a week or every day would be ideal. It would be cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, really cool stuff. That's all the top stories this week here on Stacker.News Live. We're going to jump into Womble's picks. But before we do that, we got to thank our sponsors. Our first sponsor here. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Our first sponsor ever, right?
Yeah, our first sponsor. It's Bitcoin Quest. If you haven't tried it, it's surprisingly, let me see if I can pull it up. But I saw Need Creation said they actually got over 600 users on X. Let me just get that verified here real quick. Yeah, where is it at?
From this podcast?
He didn't say that quite, but here, let me see if I can find where he put that. Yeah, I was shocked because I was like, oh, wow. I think I retweeted it, actually. Let me see if I could just go to mine. I don't tweet that much. Oh, there it goes. I found it. Yeah, it was right here. He said that he crossed. Yeah, right there. Let me see if I can move this out of the way. Yeah, right there. Oh. Yeah, there it goes. Just crossed 600 registered users from 30 plus countries. Bitcoin Quest. If you haven't played Bitcoin Quest, everybody's talking about it, including Need Creations on his Twitter account. But it's actually a really interesting website. It's the opportunity to play Bitcoin education games. So let me go ahead and pull that up here. Move away from my big graphic right there. Right there. Boom. It's called Welcome to Bitcoin Education. You can go over here. You can level up. You can earn. You can read. You click on I'm a Bitcoiner like myself. I want to learn more about mempools maybe. So I'll click on this and then boom, start exploring. What happened to the Explorer? What's going on? Oh, that's right. I got to click here. So mempools will be mining. There'll be economics will be involved in that, and probably real world use cases. So let's say I want to go learn more about the mempool. I can start my daily quest and go on a check out Time Chain TV so I can find some more cool stuff in there. If I wanted it, oh wow, that's already. Oh wow, that's loud. If I want to go to the property layer, I can go look at the white paper. You can do all sorts of really cool stuff here on Bitcoin Quest. Check it out. It's awesome. And it sounds like it's growing. 600 users. That's amazing. Here's the graphic one more time. Scan it right there if you're watching this on your TV, or check it out. BitcoinEducation.quest. Learn Bitcoin, earn real sats. Thank you again to Creations and that whole team for sponsoring SNL. All right. With that, we're going to jump into Womble's picks every week. Womble picks some very interesting stuff, Keyan, as you know. And this week he has a doozy. It's called Researchers Create Self-Replicating Seed Box and Quest for Decentralized Democracy. Let me see if I can pull this up here now. Here it goes. So researchers from Delft University of Technology have spent more than 2 decades building their decentralized BitTorrent client, Tribbler. The software is designed to be impossible to shut down, and the project itself is also going strong and is secured funding up until 2032. Keyan, have you heard about this? New BitTorrent seed box, it looks like. Software. Client, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I've heard of Tribbler before, but I don't think I've used it. It seems to be like more or less a research project from a distributed systems professor in the Netherlands. They have a lot of like fun initiatives, and I think a lot of people get like they do like their master's thesis and like a lot of research work on it, and they do a lot of really creative things with distributed systems using kind of BitTorrent as a substrate for it. This specific for many years, I was browsing around their GitHub issues and things that they've done. For many years, they've been trying. They want to create like an autonomous kind of system. Like they want to create an organism. They want servers that purchase servers that have no like human in the loop, that don't require people involved. They also have an interest in like a decentralized AI stuff that doesn't have a human involved, and kind of like spawning and serving humanity type of stuff. This specific project seems to be kind of an early. They say it's vibe coded, and they're very against like AI generated code because they don't trust it, rightfully. And they are experimenting with these servers that create servers, and they serve like Creative Commons content. They're like seed Creative Commons content, and and it uses Bitcoin, so they pay for servers with Bitcoin. Then you vote, and then you can like fund a future seed box instance with Bitcoin, and it will spawn a seed box instance, and then that seed box instance can be funded with Bitcoin, which will spawn other ones. It's there's like a lot of aspects to this. I think it's pretty early, and
sounds like a lot of fun.
The autonomous network space. Bitcoin is perhaps the best example of it, where it doesn't have any centralization vectors relative to even BitTorrent. Like it is a pretty big step change, but I do imagine we'll see a lot more of the autonomous network things appear at some point.
There it goes right here. This is the superorganism experiment. Yeah, unstoppable by design, self-replicating, self-hosted, self-evolving, and human oversight with democratic governance. Well, that is our utopian dream.
Yeah, they're self-aware of how sort of impossible this is, or like how limited current capabilities are, but they really are making a good attempt, and they have done a lot of interesting research in this direction. I found a number of papers I was unfamiliar with when I began reading through some of the work here. They do a lot of stuff on Sybil resistance, obviously, reputation, and voting. There's like a whole they're very interested in like Bitcoin things, like Bitcoin related things, and I found it pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, so the voting leaderboard is fixed front page. Give me thumbnails. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then the people who fix that issue then get Bitcoin for it. There's a lot of like fun incentive games. There's a lot of overlap with my interests.
That's cool. Definitely a project to watch. They have a GitHub. It looks like it's just GitHub at Tribler, Tribler. And then they have one. This is the one that we're looking at, the superorganism experiment. Let's see what Wumble has for a question this week. Coob. His question was, would this be a good tool for websites like WikiLeaks to keep their content available online? Keyan, what do you think?
I'm not sure it's at that stage yet. I definitely think, I think like existing BitTorrent is probably fine for hosting WikiLeaks stuff. I think it survived pretty well doing that before. It's like decentralized enough that a state actor would have a really hard time probably taking it down. And I think that's what we already saw. I think what would be the goal of these beyond that, if BitTorrent is already hosting WikiLeaks material?
I think, yeah, just probably the torrent aspect of it with the cables, because remember at the time they had mirrored sites and they kept taking them down. So maybe like the cables at that time. I'm trying to remember, it's so long ago.
Yeah, like to finish my thought, I think it'd be for things that are perhaps at like a lower global relevance level than something like WikiLeaks, where you don't have a lot of individuals who want to see that content or find it interesting, but you still want it to be super censorship resistant and resilient against state attacks. Like, say I want to share files with a particular dissident, but no one cares about them or knows about them, but I still want it to be resistant to attack. And maybe a group of dissidents, if maybe that's maybe why torrents are a little more relevant there. But like, I'm not going to get so many people involved at the level of WikiLeaks. That's where I could see this being useful, is something a little more generic, something a little. I think that's the value of something a little more where it doesn't require a lot of promotion and marketing around it to make it popular. I think that would be the benefit of having a generic like substrate for sharing lots of files that governments can't shut down.
Yeah, so it looks like, let me see if I can bring this over here. It looks like, so it looks like so it was the cable stuff. So WikiLeaks began releasing classified cables, and then they started taking them down. And then the term came from actually like a diplomatic cable, also known as a diplomatic telegram or embassy cable. So there's some sort of like media messaging thing to it as well too. That's interesting. Yeah, that was a long time. That was 2010 when all that stuff was going on. And I think they were accepting Bitcoin at that time too. Believe it or not. Cool stuff. Yeah. You got any other thoughts on this right here?
More than I showed now.
Okay. Let's go into Keyan's post this week. Case study, a real Spark unilateral exit on Bitcoin mainnet. This is Opnomes from Scoresby, 9 comments, 1,155 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, I just wanted to cover this because it seemed to be circulating a lot on X, where they had recently become interested in the unilateral exit guarantees of Spark. I think probably mostly motivated by some of the competition that we're seeing from Bark and which is done by Second Tech, and I think who's the other one? Generally, the ARC protocol companies. They have been kind of quite public or beginning to find an enemy in Spark and talking about it, and so people are finally talking about this stuff. But so there was, I think before this post, there was another post about how you can't unilaterally exit on Spark. And then so a number of people tried. This is one of the attempts. Generally a slot post. They kind of just vibed the whole description of what they did. I would guess they actually did go through the unilateral exit procedure, but there are a number of factual issues and consistency things in it. They go through the procedure and demonstrate that you can unilaterally exit. It is not the kind of unilateral exit that you would expect, where all you need is your seed phrase to exit. You need other information which you and your wallet provider most likely do not have access to, that you need to reach out to a Spark operator for. But it is, I think, theoretically possible, and that is what they achieved. Anyway, I thought it was worth talking about. It did seem to finally get some attention. I'd been asking this question back in early this year, late last year, about the practicality of Spark unilateral exit, which is talked about in nearly every Spark wallet release. The fact that as far as I was aware, no wallet had actually implemented this, and it wasn't possible with just the seed or even a local client-side stored data to be able to unilaterally exit. And it still seems to be the case, but it's possible that eventually Spark will make this a lot easier. Currently isn't right now. And that isn't to say that I think that the stuff going on Arc is it makes it much easier. I haven't really experimented with a unilateral exit on Arc.
I guess just break it down for the plebs, because even I have trouble kind of understanding the importance of unilaterally exiting from something like a Spark wallet. Can you tell us, just break it down, why that is
so yeah, what unilateral means is that I don't need anyone's permission I don't need Spark's permission to take my Bitcoin back on chain, where I know I have full control of it. That is kind of the idea of so
if you have exit. a wallet that's
wallet of Satoshi is maybe the most common example.
So you have a wallet of Satoshi wallet that's using Spark. I'm guaranteed that I can pull out the sats.
Well, that's the problem. You aren't guaranteed. If it had a real unilateral exit, you would be guaranteed under any if Spark shut down or they started doing something, they wanted you to KYC, and Wallet of Satoshi wasn't recording all of the taproot leaves that you needed to exit. You could do that on your own. That's what a unilateral exit would mean. But that isn't the case. That doesn't appear to be the case. It's you aren't actually that free. You don't actually have that level of sovereignty. You are still dependent on Spark and or a wallet of Satoshi letting you exit Spark.
Yeah. So I get that part, but and then explain to me and the plebs what does obviously we know why that's important, but is there any other wallet that lets you do that besides running your own node and stuff like that?
Yeah, Phoenix. If you use Phoenix, if you use a Lightning wallet that doesn't have one of these intermediate layers, it's possible some of these Arc wallets do this. I would guess that might be in an early state. I haven't used them yet or done too much of a deep dive into them to see what the unilateral exit guarantees are. But with something like Phoenix, I think it is probably the closest we can get with a sort of offline, somewhat online wallet that actually gives you all of the guarantees that you want.
So it sounds like the only if I'm hearing correctly, it sounds like the only wallet that lets you unilaterally exit via Lightning is just Phoenix and your own Lightning node.
No, I would guess there are a lot more.
Okay.
But that I would say that is maybe the best user experience with a unilateral exit that we have on mobile.
Is Phoenix,
I would say.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, this is good news for Phoenix. Get some more users. But and then has Spark said they were going to add it at some point, or allow other people that are using their SDK to add it, or do we know anything like that? Has anybody asked them?
Well, it already I mean, the unilateral exit already exists by their API. It's impractical given the limitations of mobile wallets and the way that they're used for the mobile wallets to take advantage of what Spark exposes. So it's like this thing that is theoretically possible to have a unilateral exit on Spark. It's just practically
Impossible.
no, practically difficult. And so we haven't seen any mobile wallets, as far as I know, implement this in a way where I know that if Spark goes away or wants to KYC me, I can get my Bitcoin back.
Okay. And then just so people know that, like, I remember when I was in like 2017, 2018, and Bitcoin wallets were a big thing. And I remember that, I forget which wallet I was using, but it was like a kind of similar. And then at some point, and then asked me like, oh, if you want to pull out your Bitcoin, you have to share your email address and KYC and all this stuff. And so that's why it's important. If somebody's watching. It's like, it probably won't do that right now, but it could happen in the future. Then you're stuck.
Yeah, without this God, it's so hard to say that. Without unilateral exit, like guaranteed unilateral exit that is easy for you to do, you need to be cautious about them shotgun KYCing you in the future. But if they did make it really easy, then you could pretty much use this quite safely and feel pretty good about that Bitcoin being able to be yours in your possession. I mean, there are other issues with something like Spark or even Arc, but it's not as self-sovereign as something like True Lightning, but it is. That would be a step in the right direction.
I feel like at this point they just kind of need to. I feel like Spark just needs to kind of like pick a side, and then just kind of let them know, or not. But I feel like it would at least clear the air, and then people would know either to use it or not. Because I feel like a lot of the bigger wallets already let you know, hey, we KYC, hey, all this stuff. So I feel like maybe that's why this is so controversial, is because they haven't unilaterally picked a side. I don't know if that's the correct way to use it.
It's not.
I know. It's me trying to make a joke. But you know what I mean? Like, it would be better if they just kind of picked the side there. That's all I'm saying. Spark. In the meantime, we're left to wonder. Really good pick. We're going to jump into the next one, which is more Bitcoin stuff, sort of. This is from Ben Carmen. This is one that Wumble picked. It's called Phantasm, self-hosted AI chat for iOS, from Ben Carmen. Have you played with this yet, Keyan?
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, I haven't played with it either. But ideally, from what I read yesterday when I saw it on the thing, it's basically just a chat app similar to, I would imagine, like ChatGPT, but lets you connect to your own hardware.
Oh.
But yeah, check it out. Run the back end, point the app at it. It's in the App Store, and chat. Open source end to end. Check out the GitHub. Support Ben the Carmen. And there you go. Let me see here. So the next one we have after that is on the lack of replay protection. These are my picks that I picked this week, but I know Keyan wanted to talk about this because this is something that Merch wrote up. He says right here, get it blogged in a while, but today I hammered together a few thoughts on BIP 110's lack of replay protection. Keyan, you have any thoughts on this?
Oh no, it's your pick. I'll let you take it.
I can't explain this stuff.
Well, it's not explained. I thought you had.
I think it's important to talk about it, but
oh, I see. You picked it for me to talk about. Yeah, I could do that.
Well, I picked it for Merch because I know he likes the show. Go for it.
Yeah. So BIP 110 is looming. It looks like it's predicted to happen around August 8th now of this year. And one of the things that happens when a hard fork like this happens is replay, which means when you spend your Bitcoin on whichever chain you prefer, and the overwhelming majority of people prefer the the non-BIP 110 chain, I assume, although that could change maybe. What ends up happening is the other chain ends up getting that transaction too. So you spend
Oh, wow.
you spend coin on what your chain, and unintentionally or intentionally, what ends up happening is on the other chain, those coins get spent too, because those are other coins. Those are not the same Bitcoin. It's a different one.
That's crazy. Well, not crazy, but that kind of makes sense. Wow.
Yeah. And so Merch wrote about it and kind of what you can do to split your coins. And there's a variety of things you can do. But probably, like one of the easier things to do is, given that there will be a very high difficulty on the BIP 110 chain relative to the miners mining on it, because they'll inherit the same difficulty level. You can spend your coins on the main chain and at a very low transaction fee, and then and then respend them on the other chain, because it'll get accepted on the chain with more hash power faster, and the other one will be so slow that you should be fine. There's just some subtleties here. In general, I would just recommend that people, unless they are doing lots of transactions in Bitcoin, and if they just have Bitcoin in cold storage, just to leave it in cold storage, not transact, and wait until this is all kind of over. But if you are transacting and you want to keep your coins on both chains, there are things to do to make sure that happens.
Oh, wow. Look at that. So there's a BIP 110 fork simulator. That's super scary. And if it doesn't happen, it's let's say it's 1% or something. Does not look like, or reset, yeah. What if it's simulate? Oh, okay. Interesting. This is cool. Awesome. Yeah, and then it looks like we had quite a few comments from here. The top comment was from Crew. Said, I had not heard of this conflicting fee method for splitting coins before. Very smart. I'll do that after the chain split and merge the coins into Wasabi's coin join pool so that people can passively inherit replay protection. Yeah. And then Flip Programmer said replay protection would turn it into a hard fork. And then Optimism jumped in. Any great comments here, Keyan, that stood out?
No. You read most of the comments are pretty great.
All right. That's from that post. Let me go back here. Go to the next one that I had. So yeah, so just speaking about that, so it looks like Predex, the team at Predex has put together I don't know if they put together quite a few of these, but they put together this post here on Stacker.News where they talk about the different trading bets that they have on Predex. So one of them is, I think it's this one. Yeah. So this is one that is, will BIP 110 activate and be enforced on Bitcoin by September 1st through the 7th, 2026? And then they have some pretty good volume on here, 213 million sats. But if you go back to this, they said so far they've surpassed 2 Bitcoin in combined trading volume just off of BIP 110. I thought that was pretty crazy. Did you see this post? Did you think anything of it as far as the amount of Bitcoin that was trading around this proposed BIP?
No, I'd heard of that, and I'd seen that they had a lot of action on it. I haven't really looked too much in it. I see a lot of stackers on the no side, which is fun. A lot of stackers are pretty big on Predix, so shouldn't be super surprising. But yeah, I don't really have much thought. I don't know the usual size of Predix's markets, if this represents a really big one. Maybe perhaps it does. I don't know.
The float is usually like around 100K sats.
What does it float?
It's kind of where the market inside the platform like hangs at. Like it's usually where the liquidity's at.
You mean it varies?
Yeah. I don't know the exact definition, but that's my understanding of it. Yeah. I thought it was pretty crazy that there's that much volume just around the BIP 110 stuff. Yeah, 2 Bitcoin's a lot. Yeah, so we wanted to share that, and then the other one was, we got 2. So I think the Pegasus one is probably the biggest news. So this got shared on the security territory. It was Pegasus used against EU Pegasus investigator. So it looks like a European politician was helping investigate government's abuse of Pegasus, who happened to be on the actual Pegasus committee. So I think the thing that here, let me pull up the Anon post. But yeah, I think the big one here was that this guy Stelios Koluga, he joined in 2022, and he basically had his iPhone or Citizen Lab, this particular outlet, had examined his iPhone in May of 2026 and found strong forensic evidence that it had been successfully infected around October 21st, 2022. So the biggest problem with this, and this is kind of what it goes into, was that why it's so serious is like Pegasus is not a normal consumer malware, so it's not like something like a Flipper where you can do some really cool things on there. And this is more like a sophisticated commercial surveillance. So, and then it was developed by Israel-based NSO group. That's what it has here. So it's not something that like you wouldn't just target somebody like with that kind of software. And so the whole reason for this is because they're trying to figure out like if this was an actual country that did this particular, and if it was more of an espionage type of thing. I thought it was fascinating when I was looking through the top stories this week, and the fact that somebody of this stature got basically got harpooned, and no one's really no one knows who exactly did it. If it was like Russia, if it was like a fellow journalist, if it was like a one-off type of group, but anyways, yeah, that's him right there. That says on the date on which his phone was hacked with Pegasus spyware. I know you didn't read this, Keyan, but what do you think about? Did you ever look into the Pegasus stuff when that was going on? It's not as like covered as it was like a year ago or 2 years ago. But
I think I watched a documentary on it once, and I found it pretty interesting that there exists these multi-billion-dollar companies that try to find 0 days in software and then resell the exploit to governments, and they pay, and it's like all cool. I think that's kind of interesting at a high level. I'm not super familiar with this, but it's I think it makes it clear to everyone that they can be exploited if someone is motivated enough. They can pay the right people to exploit them, and so you should be taking lots of precautions, at least not make it easy for them.
Yeah, it looks like his phone was accessed via Pwn Your Home, which is a zero-click exploit. It looks like they go into it. I've never heard of Citizen Lab before, but it definitely makes me want to subscribe to their newsletter if they have one. Really crazy stuff. I think for me, when I saw this, the thing that jumped out was like, okay, they targeted, a politician or whatever, which is, I guess, comes with the job at this point, right? So that wasn't really freaky the more freakish part was the fact that he was on a committee about them. So it's kind of like, yeah, that was the more kind of freaky part. Was like, oh, they just target a politician for something. But I guess they only target politicians that are on said committees or types of committees. So if you're like on a board or something, maybe check your phone. That was the only thing that kind of freaked me out about the whole thing. And because you don't know who did it, you know, it was like a nation state or something. Yeah. Cool. So that was that one. And then the last one I had, oh yeah, and this was okay. I wanted to bring this up because I'm a big fan of Flipper. They actually made this post on their website, and they talk about how they started on Kickstarter, and one of the biggest fears that they had was them becoming like a $5 million Kickstarter raise and then just kind of going nowhere. And from there, they talked about all the stuff they delivered, but they basically said that at this point they're going to just start moving off a lot of the updates and firmware updates and leave it to the community. And yeah, that's kind of what this post is about. But this is what they mean in practice: limited team resources, async communication only, new contribution rules, integration and regression testing. And then now all future requests will only come via GitHub discussions. So, yeah. Anyways, thought I wanted to bring it up if anybody's watching this that is on the that is interested in the Flipper. But I thought that was really cool because there's a lot of different types of firmwares that you can use for the Flipper that are out there. Keyan, I know you don't use Flippers or anything like that, but what do you think about their process of doing everything through GitHub now?
I'm not familiar with Flipper. It might make sense for them to do it through GitHub if they don't have another way of doing it. And I'm not familiar with what they were using before or why they made the change. So could be okay.
All right. And then the last one I wanted to talk about was Dune Part 3. Boom, 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 boom. Did you see the trailer, Keyan?
No, I don't watch trailers for movies I intend to see.
Oh, you want me to turn this off?
I can't hear it. And
Anyways, okay, I won't show the whole thing, but dude, it's freaking epic. It looks freaking epic. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I can't wait. This particular trailer, I think this is the second one that dropped. It got me going for sure. Definitely got me going. It kind of makes me want to read the books now, or at least listen to them. This point, did you ever read the Dune books?
The ones by his son?
Oh no, I meant like the original ones, like the Dune one, and then I think this is covering like the third one. I think. Let me see. Was it Dune? Dune
I read the first Dune book, which I liked a lot. The second one I did not.
6 books. Yeah, 6 books by Frank Herbert.
Yeah, and then his son went on to write a lot more in the same universe. I tried the second book. I got stuck. I don't know. After like page 100, I just did not find it very good. And I guess that's like critically, it was also seen that way. Like a lot of people did not like that book. It's supposed to speed up later in the book, and I think on the third book it's supposed to get better. But I just couldn't get past it. Like turned me off completely from the series, the second book, so I did not continue it.
Yeah, it looks like the Dude Messiah one, which is the second book. That's the one that this one's kind of covering. This movie. That's cool. And then they have like the Children of Dune. Haven't seen it. I'm definitely gonna read the first one, maybe the second one. That's really cool. Anyways, that's all the stories I have for me on this week. Keyan, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's jump into the Cowboys, baby. Giddy on up. Top Cowboys. Where is the Top Cowboys? I can never find it. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Took a second to load. All right. Number 2, Coog. Never moving. Number 3 undisciplined. Blockchain Boo, Gray Ruby. Satwise. A lot of them in hiding. I got Wumble, number 19. Got Max. Look, it's your boy. Any other ones stand out, Keyan?
I can't really see. It's very pixelated, but yeah, it looks like not much has changed in the top Cowboys.
All right. Well, that's all the top Cowboys this week. Are you feeling all right? What's going on?
I'm fine.
Okay. You're just like not talking today on the show. Cool. That's all I got. Do you have any meta you wanted to cover or anything like that?
Nope.
All right. I guess we'll end it there. What are you doing this weekend?
Not much. I think just normal stuff. Probably still working, stuff like that. How about you?
We have to move some stuff from another office. So Ted's going to help me out this weekend to move some of that stuff. But yeah, got to bring some more chairs, tables, all that kind of stuff. I'm not looking forward to it. I feel like all I do is move at this point.
Yeah, it's a big part of things.
All right. Well,